Right now, 83% of people researching financial advisors, whether they found you through a referral, Google search, LinkedIn, or an ad, do one thing before they ever call you. They check your online reviews. Meanwhile, fewer than 10% of advisors are actually using testimonials in their marketing. That's a 73-point gap between what prospects want and what we're giving them. And if you're asking for testimonials at the end of client meetings, like most advisors, you're doing it at the worst possible time. Here's when you should actually be asking. Let me break down why this is such a massive problem. The SEC changed the rules back in 2021, almost 4 years ago now, allowing financial advisors to finally use testimonials after a 60-year prohibition. This was huge because for the first time in our industry's modern history, we could leverage the most powerful form of marketing that exists: social proof. But here's what happened: most advisors either didn't know about the change, didn't understand it, or didn't bother implementing a system to collect testimonials. Meanwhile, consumer behavior completely shifted. 93% of consumers now say online reviews impact their purchasing decisions. And when it comes to hiring a financial advisor, one of the biggest decisions someone makes, people are doing their homework. Think about all the ways prospects find you today. Someone Googles financial advisor near me. They see your post on LinkedIn about retirement planning, or a friend mentions your name at dinner. They click on your Facebook ad about tax strategies. They find you through a podcast or webinar. And what's the first thing they do? No matter how they found you, they look for reviews. They Google your name and they check your website. They scroll through your LinkedIn recommendations. They're looking for proof that you're legit. 42% of people researching advisors start with search engines like Google. They're not even getting a referral first, they're finding you organically. And when they land on your website or Google business profile with zero reviews, they move on to the next advisor who has them. So we've got this massive disconnect. Prospects desperately wanting social proof, but most advisors aren't providing it. And here's where I have to be honest with you: I was a part of the problem. My mentors drilled into me that you have to ask for referrals at the end of every meeting. So when testimonials became allowed, I just applied the same logic. End of meeting, quick ask for a testimonial, check the box, and move on. You know what happened? The testimonials I did get were fine, generic, like great advisor, very helpful, highly recommend. Nothing that really captured the transformation or the real impact of the work we were doing together. Picture this: you're wrapping up a quarterly review, everything went smoothly, portfolio's doing well, you've discussed their goals, and then right at the end, you awkwardly transition with, "Oh, by the way, would you mind writing me a quick review?" Your client says, "Sure, yeah, I could do that." But you can feel it. They're just being polite. The energy's off. It feels almost forced. And then crickets. They never actually write it. Or if they do, it's 2 weeks later and it's the most generic thing you've ever read. I was stuck in this pattern for way too long before I realized I wasn't just asking at the wrong time, I was asking where my clients had the least motivation to write something compelling. So, what changed for me? I started studying the psychology of when people actually want to give testimonials. And there's actually this concept in behavioral psychology called the peak end rule. Basically, people judge an experience based on its peak moment and how it ends. Here's what this means for us as financial advisors. The absolute best time to ask for a testimonial is right after a big win, not at the end of a regular meeting, not 3 months later, but right after you've just delivered exceptional value. So, what does this look like in practice? Right after you've helped them avoid a major tax hit, the moment you've gotten them to their retirement number, when you've just navigated them through a market downturn and they're seeing the results. These are the moments where emotions are high. Gratitude is genuine, and they're thinking, wow, I'm so happy I have this advisor. Research shows that testimonials gathered at these peak moments are 3 to 5 times more detailed, more emotional, and more persuasive than the testimonials asked during routine interactions. All right, so here's the exact framework I used to use and how it transformed the quality and quality of testimonials I received when I was an advisor. So, step one is to identify your big win moments. Make a list right now of what constitutes a big win for your clients. These are typically major milestone achievements like hitting retirement numbers, paying off debt, or complex problem solving like tax strategy, estate planning, education funding, or it could be life transitions like retirement, a business sale, relocation. So now step two is to strike while the iron is still hot. So within 24 to 48 hours of the big win, reach out. Not in the meeting where you deliver the news, give them time to let it sink in. But don't wait weeks. The sweet spot is usually 1 to 2 days later. Here's the email template I used, and I'll put it in the description for you guys to use. Hi, client name. I've been thinking about our conversation from Tuesday about our specific win. I'm really proud of what we've accomplished together on the specific outcome, and I have a small favor to ask. We've been working to help more families just like yours experience the same kind of peace of mind, and your story could really help someone who's on the fence about working with an advisor. Would you be willing to share a few sentences about your experience? Specifically, what was going on before we started working together and what's different now? No pressure at all. I know you're busy. Even just 2 to 3 sentences would be incredibly helpful. Thanks for considering it. So, step three now is to make it ridiculously easy. Here's where most advisors mess up. They ask for a testimonial, but don't give any direction. Your client stares at a blank screen and thinks, what do I even say? So, to include 2 to 3 guiding questions like what specific challenges you were facing before we started working together, and what result or outcome has meant the most to you, and how would you describe your experience to a friend considering hiring an advisor. So, step four now is to follow up once. If you don't hear back in a week, send only one friendly reminder. Something like, hey, name, totally understand if you're swamped, no pressure on that testimonial, just wanted to check in. Either way, it's been a pleasure working with you on their win. That's it. Don't be pushy. If they don't respond, move on. Now, you might be thinking, does this actually work? And let me give you the data. 88% of people trust online testimonials as much as personal referrals. And that's huge because a great testimonial is essentially an evergreen referral working for you 24/7. Adding testimonials to your website can increase conversions by over 30%. Think about that. Nearly one third of more prospects converting to clients just by showcasing real client experiences. And here's the kicker: 93% of consumers say online reviews impact their purchasing decisions. And in our industry, hiring a financial advisor is one of the most significant decisions someone makes. They want social proof. They need to know that people like them, have had success with you. But here's what most advisors don't realize: it's not about having testimonials, it's about having the right testimonials. The ones gathered after the big wins are more specific and detailed, more emotionally resonant, more likely to address the exact concern your prospects have, more authentic and believable, and generic testimonials like great advisor, very knowledgeable, don't move the needle. But a testimonial that says, I was terrified I'd have to work until 70, but 1 year after working with advisor, I'm now on track to retire at 62 with the lifestyle that I want. That sells. A quick compliance note, because I know you're thinking about it. Under the SEC marketing rule that went into effect in 2021, you can use testimonials, but you need to include specific disclosures, whether the person is a current client, whether they were compensated, and most of you won't be compensating, which is actually better. A statement that the testimonial may not be representative of all clients, and any conflict of interest. The good news, if you're using a platform like Wealth Tender or Google Reviews or your website with proper disclosures, most of this is handled automatically. Just make sure you're asking all of your clients after big wins and not cherry picking favorites. The SEC wants to see you're not being selective in who you ask. And I'm not a compliance officer, so definitely run your specific process with your compliance team just to be extra sure. Here's why this matters right now. Remember that stat I mentioned at the beginning? Fewer than 10% of advisors are actively using testimonials. That means if you implement this system today, you're immediately in the top 10% of advisors in terms of digital marketing sophistication. But here's what's even bigger: consumer behavior has fundamentally changed. People don't just hire advisors through warm referrals anymore. They're finding you through organic search. 42% start with Google, LinkedIn, your content, your profile, your network, social media ads like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, podcasts and webinars, educational content, local events and networking. And yes, referrals too. But across all of these channels, the pattern is the same: discover, research reviews, then decide. You could have the best content on LinkedIn. You could be running profitable ads. You could be getting warm referrals left and right. But if someone Googles your name and finds zero reviews, or worse, one bad review from 5 years ago, you lose them. The advisors with strong testimonials across multiple platforms are getting the first call every single time. This is one of those rare moments in our industry where you have a massive competitive advantage just sitting there waiting to be claimed. The rule changed in 2021, but most advisors either don't know about it, don't understand it, or haven't bothered implementing a system around it. You're not just competing against the advisors with the most AUM or the fanciest credentials. You're competing for attention. And right now, authentic client testimonials are the fastest way to build trust and convert prospects no matter where they find you. The difference between asking for testimonials at the end of routine meetings versus after big wins is the big difference between mediocre, generic reviews and powerful, conversion driving social proof that grows your business on autopilot across every single channel. Look, I get it. Asking for testimonials can feel awkward, and it did for me too. But once I shifted my mindset from asking for a favor to I'm giving my happy clients a chance to help others like them, everything changed. And the timing piece, that's everything. Stop asking at the end of random meetings. Start asking right after you've delivered a big win. So here's your action plan. Number one is to make a list of your last 5 big client wins. Number two, reach out to those clients this week using the email template I shared. Number three is to set up a system automatically reminding yourself to ask after these future big wins. And number four is to get your compliance team to review your process. Do this, and I promise you'll have more high quality testimonials in the next 30 days than you've gotten in the last year. And if you found this helpful, drop a comment below telling me what your biggest big win moment was with a client recently. And I'd love to hear your stories. And if you want more content like this, real tactical strategies growing your advisory practice without the fluff, make sure you're subscribed. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.